What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP, why I'm getting it eventually, changing the format just a little bit, well, kind of keeping it the same. This is a video series I do where I talk about an upcoming game and talk about whether I'm getting it, not getting it, or I guess somewhere in the middle, and that is something with this game. So I want to talk about why generally I am getting this game. It's just a matter of when, and I'll get to that as this video goes on. Well, number one, I got to be honest, one of the main reasons I want to get this game, and I want to get it physically, which we'll get into later, is just as a collector's type item. If you guys know, you know, right? If you have the original Lollipop Chainsaw, God bless you, because that game is going for $40, $50, $60 plus dollars online every passing year, and I think specifically maybe because this version is coming out, that game is incredibly hard. So being a game preservationist, having a lot of these games, I'm willing to drop that here and there, but not so often. And considering this new game is coming out, and we'll talk about some of the features of this new game, my plan is, okay, I don't see a future for this franchise, sadly. I actually really like the original. We'll talk about that too, but I don't really see like a second game happening, or I mean, maybe you give it another 10 years, maybe you get like a remake or something. This is probably all you get. And so again, just from the preservationist, just from like the collector side of me, I think it's important to get this game. From me, I really want this game, and I want it physically. We'll leave that there for now. In terms of the game itself, as I just said, I actually liked it. This came out, I guess, and I played it kind of during my like rental phase. I've talked about it a bit here and there. 2009 to like 2012, 13, 14, I would get games, but it'd be kind of birthday and Christmas. Any other game would be through renting, and I probably played dozens, like I'm talking maybe 30, 40, 50 games, if not more, through rent. And so this was one of them. I should have like done some sort of rebuying program and tried to buy the game, but I liked it. I think it's a game that you just don't really get nowadays, and literally like we don't receive them. People aren't making them. I remember it well in my head. No, I haven't played this game in a very long time. A lot of stuff could have happened, from when I originally played it to having played like hundreds, if not thousands of games now. Maybe it hasn't aged as well as I think it did, but I remember enjoying it, whether it's the combat, whether it was the style. I think visually it's a really, really cool style, and they're changing things up with this new version, right? And I just really liked it. So there's not too much to say of like, okay, well, why would you get it now? Old game, a game that's really not all that accessible. It's stuck really on last gen. It's very expensive. It's coming out with a new version, and my main concern / hope is they just respect the original while obviously doing the stuff that they're doing. So kind of the main thing they've talked about with RePOP is almost two different games inside of it, right? I know I saw quite a few people talk about this. A lot of the footage they've shown so far, and there has been more footage here and there, has been the RePOP version, which is, it's really a glorified, censored version. Now, I'm not too opposed because it's going to have both, right? If this was a remaster of the original and the entire goal was to just kind of like nullify everything that kind of made it unique, then I'd have a big problem. But I actually think, while it is censored, right? So it's like blood being replaced with like confetti and explosions and this color palette that I will say I actually really like. Like, I like the look. You can see it, even behind me. I like the look, and I actually think it's right up the DNA of what Lollipop Chainsaw is. So I'm not actually mad about it. I'm hoping that, because they've talked about this game's going to have both, right? There will be the original kind of version. There's like soundtrack kind of replacements where it's like all new music, but they've kept menus the same. You can look at like the store, when you're buying upgrades or chainsaws or whatever, and a lot of that stuff is the same, whether it's music or whether it's just kind of the look of it. They've kept outfits. They've added outfits, I think like 30 plus in all now. So, I mean, they're going for like a hybrid type thing, right? Like, they really don't want to touch, and they've talked about it, like they respect the original. A lot of the heads of the original, Lollipop Chainsaw development team is not here now, right? So this is like a separate thing, and so you do have that respect. It reminds me kind of like a Metal Gear situation where I almost think respect needs to be at the forefront, where like what made the original special. Those that were kind of the leads or heads of that aren't doing this now. You're kind of like, I don't mean replacements in like a negative way, but let's say replacements, right? And you need to do it right. And the only added thing with this game is any changes they're making, you can always kind of default to, well, the original game is kind of there somewhere, right? So if you liked the gore and like the uncensored type stuff, that's there. But if you want this newer thing, you know, you can do that too while also respecting the original. So as of right now, I don't see anything wrong with it. We'll see how much they alter kind of like the original version, if there are things that are just kind of changed outright. I saw some things where like quick time events are kind of changed outright. See, like the gameplay is probably something that hasn't aged as well as I think it did in my head, right? So there are some quality of life things when it comes to combos and the gameplay and stuff. You can see it just visually does look better from like any kind of raw gameplay. So, you know, those kind of things you need to improve. I'm not saying keep those exactly the same, but I think overall, it looks like they're doing a pretty good job. Final thing I want to say, the reason why I'm getting it, you know, eventually is, well, timing's not ideal. Comes out early September. They actually moved it up closer to the other games that I want, right? So like early September, I've talked about them on this channel. I want the Astrobots. I want the casting of Frank Stones of the world, Harry Potter and whatnot. This game was originally going to come out like somewhere in like the September 25th-ish range, and now it's, I believe, September 12th. It's a Thursday. So number one, you know, that I can respect them moving a game up, because most times you delay a game, not move it up. So kudos to them, but they're moving it closer to other games. Now, the biggest thing for me, it's a small reason. It's not actually the big reason. The biggest thing for me is I'm still debating of how to actually get this thing. So one thing I really don't like, and it's more of a business decision versus like a game development thing, is they're actually splitting, and a couple games are doing this, by the way, and I hate it. They're splitting the digital release from the physical, and I think that's to continue to usher people, hey, buy digital. I mean, it's already like an 80-20 split. Maybe they want a 90-10 split, right? If you get it September 12th, you get it digitally, right? If you get it physically, there's really, in my opinion, only two ways to try to get it. Limited Run, which is ending soon. It's ending in like 2 weeks. And also Play Asia. Now, Limited Run, you don't actually get the game physically until sometime in December. I didn't say that wrong. December. You have to wait 3 months until you get the game. I think that's pathetic. I think that's because that's like, well, the game's out. But if you want it physically, you got to buy it now. But then you're going to get it, you know, 3 months from now, 3 months after. People are going to end up playing it digitally. I think Play Asia gets it at the end of September. So the big thing for me, as I said in the beginning of this video, a big thing for me is actually to get this physically. It's not, I mean, like, the respect to those that get it digitally, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. But as I said in the beginning, this is like a collector's item type thing. You look at what happened originally with this game. I don't see a future with this franchise. So it's like, this is probably it. If you get it digitally again, you know what I mean? Like, what if it's trapped on the PS5 and Xbox, you know, 15 years from now, like the first game is 2 generations ago. So for me, it's got to be physical. I got to get the game physical, but I also don't want to wait 3 months. So I think I'm probably going to hopefully do that Play Asia thing, get it through there, and just have to wait, you know, 2-3 weeks for it. It's $45. That's another thing that I actually like about it is, you know, you get the Disney's Epic Mickey and a game like this, Harry Potter as well. I think casting of Frank Stone. Several games are not full price. This game, I believe, is $45 US dollars. But if you actually get it through PlayStation, if you have PS Plus, it's $40. So that's another way of like, dang it, if you get it digitally, you save $5, and you also get it 2 weeks early or 3 months early, depending on where you get it physically from, right? So it's a real moral dilemma, to be honest with you. But no, I'm getting the game. It's just a matter of kind of when I'm getting it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.